Hey guys, welcome back. This is By the Book and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Seth.
I'm Sil.
And today we're talking about Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 12, Alexis and Justin.
Whoa.
So yeah, how about I tell you, I was ready to be married, but not to your behind. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, homie.
She don't know what she dealing with. I ain't Justin.
Is your ring still on?
The ring is on. And you know what? The turn up is real.
All right, guys. Yeah. We're just joking, but this is where Alexis and Justin are at this point in the season. And it's crazy. Mm-hmm. This episode opens out Alexis and Justin. They're actually having a lighthearted argument about Alexis going out every weekend. Like, I mean, they're still smiling. They're cool. About Alexis going out with her friends every weekend. Alexis's position is, look, I only go out with them 2 hours out of the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. All the rest of my time is spent with you. Like, what is the problem?
Yeah.
So what is the problem, Justin? What's going on?
I mean, well, I ain't Justin again, but you know, I can kind of see things a little bit from Justin's standpoint, and not to get into it too deep right about now, but I think from Justin's standpoint, he's definitely insecure. He's insecure because Alexis hasn't been meeting his needs. Mm-hmm. And so all of this, all the arguments that they've had, the nothing has been resolved. His dog is gone. And so he's asking her, hey, meet me here because I have compromised with you. And I have sacrificed for you. And so can you give up a weekend for me? You know, and she's just not having it. So that was that was from his standpoint, real quick, that was his issue.
And she feels like she's already given something up because she usually would spend more time with her friends, and she's spending all this time with him and only two hours out of the weekend with her friends. Yeah. So I get that. Also, she feels like she's sacrificed for him. And she's trying, and she's unattracted to him in every way that matters. Yeah. I think she's physically unattracted to him. She's unattracted to his softness. Mm-hmm. He can't, perform for her, which she's already told us. But
she won't let him perform.
Nah,
she said.
No, that is not what she said. She said they tried and it didn't manifest. We all know what that means. We talked about it, and we know what it means. That issue is dead.
No, because she said something else tonight. Tonight, she said, he said, why won't you have sex with me, pretty much? And?
Because you can't do it.
No. He said he's tried. He told the fellas, too.
And it didn't manifest. That's what they said.
No, she ain't going for it because I think it goes back to what you said. It's just too much. They're not compatible.
Yeah. I mean, how do you have sex with somebody for the first time and all you guys do is fight?
Yeah.
For the past, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Yeah. All they've done is get into arguments. Like, nobody is in a mood after that.
True. But she misled us. She misled us.
I don't think she did. She did. I think that when they tried, it was a fail. Mm-hmm. I think he probably subsequently tried. Yeah. But that don't mean it was going to work. She probably was like, man, I ain't fooling with this little thing you got going on over here. Like, you straight. So, this was the episode, guys, when Dr. Pia came to visit everybody. I was happy to see her because she just seems to be more effective than the other experts at this point. Extremely. More effective than they've been in the past. I don't know how many seasons. Yeah. But
she got in there. She was really trying to work some conflict resolution with them. And she was basically really getting them to really talk about their feelings. And so she did 110% more than what Dr. Pepper did and Pastor Cal did, to be honest with you. It didn't work because they need a whole lot of work. They need to be in therapy every week.
Yeah. But as far as her, like, I feel like this was her tryout. They need to go ahead and put her on the payroll.
I feel you.
So
I feel you. Bring her back.
Justin and Alexis are talking prior to her getting there. Like I said, they're upbeat. They're happy. Alexis seems like she wants to talk in front of Dr. Pia because she thinks Dr. Pia is going to be on her side. She's like, we'll just talk about it when Dr. Pia gets here. Mm-hmm. And it didn't go the way that Alexis had hoped. You could just tell because you could see slowly the wind is coming out of her sails as this conversation is going on. Mm-hmm. So Justin is frustrated. He's expressing while they're in front of Dr. Pia, like, what is the point of you even starting this process? Because he feels, again, like she's living a single life.
Yes.
Right. And she's like, I wanted to have fun. She wanted her partner to be somebody that she could have fun with. And I think this whole process has soured her because they've argued so much. I think the biggest takeaway two of the biggest things that I get from this. Number one, she's asking Justin, or she's reminding him, in your vows, you said you wanted me to be free, and I feel like putting that to the test, that's not actually true. Like, I feel like you've been manipulative in that way because now you're wanting me to do only what you want to do, and that's not right. So, she's taking issue with that. But I think the main thing that's happening with them in terms of where they're not meeting on the minds is that they have different ideas about what free means, right? Like, for him, he's like, yeah, I want you to be free to be yourself, say what you want to say around me. It's free within his bounds and his limitations of what free is. Yeah. Free for her is, hey, I used to kick it with my friends all the time. I want to continue to kick it with my friends. Yeah. And he's like, no, that's a single life. Yeah. So this is an issue that you run into when you don't date before you get married. You don't know what people's core values are. You don't know where they stand on very, very important issues within a relationship, and you're seeing that play itself out with them.
Definitely. They both are not speaking the same language, and they're not speaking to one another. They're speaking at each other. Yeah. And so he's saying, hey, I do want you to be free, but there needs to be some balance.
Balance, yeah.
And so his balance is not measuring with her balance. They're not talking apples for apples or oranges for oranges, because her balance is, I still want to go out. I cut my going out
a lot
back because my turn up is real, and I could go out almost every day of the week, but I'm not. So that's my balance.
Right. And he doesn't see that as a sacrifice because he didn't know her before they got married.
No.
But he doesn't know what kind of life she was living.
But it still kind of goes against his natural grain as far as a married person shouldn't be going out every week anyway. So,
yeah, but that's his opinion.
That's his thought process on that anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely his opinion. Yeah. He's entitled to it, but I mean that makes them almost incompatible in this regard. They're not meeting in the middle. No. So the second big thing that happened in this conversation in the presence of Dr. Pia is that she directly asks Alexis, did you feel like you were ready to be married? Were you ready to be married to Justin in particular? Mm-hmm. And she says, I don't know. I don't think so. And of course, Justin, being Justin, he's really upset by that to the point where, if he's not actually crying real tears, his voice is certainly breaking and he sounds like he's on the verge of tears.
Well, the doctor hit it on the head. Mm-hmm. As soon as she said that, she says, there it is.
Yep.
Tell the truth. This is what we need to. This is what we need to get to.
Right.
And so, trust me, Justin has known this for weeks, but she has not said it. And so, it's coming out in different type of ways. And so, say what you want to about Justin, and most of it is probably true, but I don't think he's anybody's dummy. And so, he knows that this woman for weeks has not been feeling him. Yeah. Don't want to be with him, and none of that stuff. And so, to hear her say it though, it hurt him.
Yeah, it cut. And Dr. Pierre asks him, how do you feel about that? Mm-hmm. And he goes on to talk about, he doesn't want to be just an option for her. He wants her to know that she's a catch, but that he's a catch as well. So you can get that sense that he doesn't feel a sense of validation from her. He doesn't feel affirmed by her in any way. And he's not. She doesn't like him. No, period. No. Honestly, I couldn't say it in any better way and any more concise, but Alexis doesn't like you.
No.
She didn't like you on Hitched. Yeah. She don't like you now. She ain't gonna like you once the show is over. That's dead.
Yes. She's just not that into you, Justin, and she hasn't been since the honeymoon. And so
that's perfect. That's it. She's just not that into So Alexis, for her end, she's like, I try so hard with this man. Everything that she's dealt with, she's gone through. She starts to talk about her dog, and how her dog was the most important thing to her in her life, which was a little bit amusing to me because she has a husband. But, anyhow, he cuts in and he's like, what about my dog?
Yes.
You know, poor Maya.
That was valid.
Maya is on the milk carton still. We ain't seen tail of Maya.
I done gave up my dog.
Yeah.
You know?
And he pointed out, he was like, you know, I'm frustrated that you haven't asked, like, how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Because that is big to him. I think he's had Maya longer than she had Newton.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course it's hurtful.
And you even said in a previous video, you wouldn't have given up your dog.
No, I wouldn't have gave up my dog for her.
But he did it. He did it. You know, and so for him, that's a huge compromise and a huge sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And so he just, give me something. He's looking for something that he can hold on to. And she, like I said, she's not meeting his needs. He's looking for something to hold on to. He's not getting it.
Yeah.
And so there it is. That's the argument.
So in this exchange, I think because Dr. Pia was really asking of Alexis, like, why did you want to be married? Why did you think you were ready to be married? And she's kind of on the defensive at this point. She's like, well, because I tried so hard. Like any other time I would have been out. And the fact that I'm trying so hard is showing me like I'm ready to be married. And it kind of wasn't a good answer. Everybody was kind of like, I mean, that's not indicative that you're ready to be married. Yeah. That means you're in this process. You've been forced into this 8-week process and you don't have an out.
Yeah.
Not an easy one anyway. So you have to stick it out. And I think that she felt so challenged by that she started to shut down. Yeah. So we see when Dr. Pia moves on to like, what about the intimacy issue? Yeah. Alexis is like, this conversation is not conducive to my mental health. Yeah. What? Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Well, see, when she said that, I was like, that's her background. Well, no, that's her tap out. But that is also she has a background in counseling, and so she knows the words to say, and so that definitely that.
So you feel like she was gaslighting everybody into it. Like we're not going to have this conversation because I'm not comfortable with it. Exactly. I can believe that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put it past Alexis. I think we've seen a little gaslightery from her.
Yes, that's exactly what she was doing. You know.
So she says she feels isolated and alone. Here's her putting out these.
She's putting out those words
that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was dismissed by both of them.
Yes.
And Dr. P is not really eating it up. You know, she's not like, okay, let me back off of this issue.
No, because she knows she's trying to manipulate her.
Yeah. So, but she does move forward. She asks Justin, because in this whole process, Justin takes off his ring. It was kind of dramatic.
It was.
But it was also a little bit subtle in that he made it be seen, but he didn't like slam it down or, nothing like that. But everybody saw what he did. Yeah. And Dr. Pia is like, did you see that, Alexis? And she's like, well, I'm not surprised.
Yes.
So what did you feel about that symbolic gesture of him?
It was dramatic, and he never should have done that. And he was trying to hurt her back.
Yeah.
It was a lick for a lick. But he doesn't understand. He's into her. She's not into him. So no matter what he does, he's still not going to
evoke the same type of emotion.
Nowhere even near it. And so, he was trying to fight back. I don't know if you all noticed it, but his whole body language throughout that whole session, his arms were crossed. He was trying to protect himself from what she was saying and what she might say.
See, I read his body language, I think, a little bit differently from you. I think he's closed. I think rather than like protecting himself, he's actually shut down already. Oh, yeah. He's saying things that are indicating this relationship is over.
Yes. Well, he knows it.
Yeah. So I think he's beyond the point of even protecting himself. He's just like, I know it's over. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I think he knows it over, but I still think he's protecting himself because he has feelings for her.
Okay.
Because,
it's still hurting his feelings.
It's still hurting his feelings, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Alexa says, I'm still willing to try, which is weird. It comes off kind of, again, very disingenuous because after all this stuff you just said and the way you've behaved up until now, the try for the rest of these weeks, it seems pointless.
Yes.
And Justin, to his end, he's like, well, actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
So Dr. Pia goes back and says, I think Alexis is reading this as the actions that you're looking for is for her to stay home from the club. I don't even think that's what he meant. honestly. I feel like just her whole behavior towards him is what he would like to see change. And it's not going to happen.
Yeah, very true. It's not. But somewhere in there, he's recognized the writing on the wall. I just think that he is still a little bit optimistic. He knows what the situation is. And at this particular point, he's just trying to share as much as he possibly can, or be as open as he possibly can, even though he realized that she's probably going to hurt him. And he said it's hard for me to be direct, with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
but he was later.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We see two exercises where they're instructed to be intimate, kind of, and not in any kind of real way, just emotionally, not in a physical way, I should say.
Yeah.
So they have that like fishbowl exercise where they're pulling questions out of the bowl, and they kind of reiterate the same issues. Alexis says she wants to change how she responds to him, and he says he wants to change how he makes her feel, because he's just now coming into the realization that he is hurting her feelings sometimes, that the things that he says to her, she takes them personally, and although she's not as emotional as him, it's still affecting her, and then she doesn't say it until later. Didn't have any idea that was happening. So I mean, if they were in a better place, I feel like that could have been a pivotal point. But it wasn't. And then they came back to the issue of how much time she spends with her friends, and that's when she really expresses to him, like, I could be out Monday through Friday. I could be out Tuesday through Saturday, and I would still be fine. So I am making a sacrifice for you. That's what she's trying to say.
That's what she's trying to say, but he's also countering that and saying, your friends come first, Yeah. And so that, for anyone, man, woman, Justin, Alexis, if you're married and you have that feeling that you are not number one in your spouse's life, that's a bad feeling.
Yeah, I agree, but it's hurtful. Not because of 2 hours on the weekend with her friends.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to use to talk about it, but it has way more to do with just all the arguments they've had.
Yes.
All the ways that she might have made him feel.
Yes.
And a lot less to do with 2 hours with her friends.
Very true. Weekend. Like, me and my wife have discussed all of this about her going out. It's a symptom. It's not the root cause. There's a whole lot that has happened and it's been said that needs to be hashed out, resolved, taken care of, and none of it has. And so now you're seeing the branches come out of this root, and this particular branch is, can you spend some time with me on the weekend? Why you keep going out with your friends? They're number one and I'm number 17. That's the issue.
We're going to have to do a sidebar on this, because it's crazy to me that we're talking about 2 hours out of a weekend. That's just nuts. Yeah. But we ain't going to get into that. We'll get to the sidebar.
We're going to do a sidebar.
So their second intimacy exercise has Alexis dancing on a pole. And baby, when she fell off that pole, that was so funny. I'm like, why did she even do it? But I mean, she was a good sport. She was a good sport for trying it. He didn't do nothing. That was all her. So she was trying to show him a different side of her.
Yes.
She was trying to lighten it up. She was trying to make the effort there. And he fumbled it. And you said that yourself while we were watching, because the tone was lighter. Yes. They were having drinks. I think they were, alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
And he brought the mood down.
He did.
He killed it.
He did. And as much as I want to bite her falling off of that doggone pole, I'm not going to say anything, okay? Not going to say one thing about her hitting that floor.
It wasn't graceful at all. Like,
Anyway.
So the way he changed the move, right? They played the blindfold game.
Yes.
Where one person blindfolds himself and the other person tells their truth. Like, this is how I feel. So this was the first time Justin really opened up and expressed like negative thoughts, I felt, about the marriage. He said he didn't think he would be number one in the marriage, and he was questioning it.
Yes.
He had a lot of negativity.
He did.
To bring into that conversation.
He did. You know what? We've been hard on Justin. We've been hard on Alexis too. We've been hard on both of them. But let me give him some credit. Throughout this whole episode, the man didn't cry once.
He almost cried.
But he didn't. He in that particular session, I liked his communication. It was kind of
harsh, though. I think it came out a little bit harsh.
You think so? What was?
Yes,
maybe I missed something. What was the harsh part?
I think he was trying to hurt her.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And where I feel like he tried to cut at her a little bit was by saying, "I don't think you were ready to be married." And I think we've seen in this episode, like the days prior, I guess when Dr. Pia was there, that's triggering for her. She doesn't like people to tell her she wasn't ready to be married. She finds that particularly offensive. And I think he knows that. So him saying that to her directly was, I think, an attempt of him to hurt her. And I think it was kind of retaliatory because she hurt him by saying that she wasn't ready to be married to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, we all feel how we're going to feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for her to say, I'm not ready to be married or not ready to be married to you, and then for him to follow up and say, I don't think that you were ready to be married, why is that so hurtful? You know what I'm saying? Because she already so much has said
don't tell me it's me. Because that's like him saying, no, it's something wrong with you. It's not something wrong with me, or it's not something wrong with our compatibility. You just weren't ready for this. I came in ready. You didn't. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'm putting words in her mouth, but she's like, how dare you tell me what I was ready for? You just ain't it.
Okay.
You know?
Well, possibly, because, you know, you're right. She did take some type of offense, and she did feel a certain type of way.
He was able to also say he was questioning the marriage at this point, which is something that we haven't really seen him say.
No.
We've seen him do, but we haven't heard him say.
Yeah.
You can see the wind out of his sails. You can see his energy gone and just a whole different persona put on display from him. But he hasn't actually said that. And he said himself, ooh, that felt good. Yeah. So he got that off his chest. He did. You know, it
was weighting him down. I get it. But he never should have changed the mood in that particular time. Because they were you're right. They were having drinks. She had fell off the pole.
Right.
They were laughing.
She had made a sacrifice. She was trying to show him something that she hadn't before. Show him that he's desired. Show him that she wants him. Yeah. You know, give him a side of her he hasn't really seen. They might have even had sex that night, but here he goes. Yeah, foot in mouth. Yeah. And there you go. So
Justin and his feelings, you know. So you got to know when to pick your battles. And I think he made a mistake on that one, because he definitely did. Whatever he was going to say, it was not going to change anything within that relationship that night.
No. And so Alexis,
go with the flow on with that one.
She jumps in. She says, when it's her turn and he's blindfolded, like, I think you're doing the best that you can. And like, basically, if I'm not the person for you, I want to be a good wife for somebody. You know, she took the high road.
I think that was a dig, though.
Do you?
Yes.
Why? Because you already told me.
I may not be the person for you, but I know I'm the person for somebody.
I didn't take that as
and I'm going to the club every weekend. I'm going to find that somebody.
But he's trying to tell her what she's not ready for globally. Yeah. You're not ready for marriage. Yeah. And she's defensive about that, rightfully so, because you can't tell me that. Like, you're just not the right match for me. Yeah. Don't tell me I'm not ready to be married. Don't tell me I'm not wife material, so to speak. Okay. Like, no, I am. But if you don't appreciate it, somebody else will. I think that's fair. All right. But
I thought it was a big.
We see how that played out, because as the show wraps up, the guys had already gotten together and talked. I think Nate added fuel to the fire.
He did.
And he basically said, yeah, you know, she's a snitch.
Yeah.
She was starting stuff. Yeah. And now she wants to go to the club every weekend. Like, what is she, in college? Yeah. So, that was, you know, his contribution. It was gassing Justin up.
It sure was. And then you also had Mitch, you know, kind of chime in, talking about, look, this guy is sacrificing, he's compromising. All this stuff can't be his fault. So, yeah, Alexis, what's going on with you? You know, so they definitely gave him some man talk.
Yeah, they did. And he said, I don't think she's attracted to me. That's when he started talking about, you know, he tried to have sex with her, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think for that point, he's right. Mm-hmm. She's not attracted to him.
Yeah.
Just like you said earlier, she's just not that into you. Mm-hmm. It happens. So, I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, move on.
Yeah.
After these last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But when they get back to their apartment that evening, they get into a really bad dispute to the point where a producer had to come and step in.
Yeah.
And it's because Alexis was hurt. You know, she doesn't like being told that she's not ready to be married. Mm-hmm. And that played itself out.
It did. Where I thought Justin had kind of gotten a little bit better, I think, with the whole blindfold thing, as far as his communication was going, I think he reverted right back to old Justin, and so they had it out, and a lot of harsh words were spoken, and I think production. I think they just showed us a snippet of what some of the stuff that they were saying to one another. And he even said, like,
I start yelling and this and that. And that's the thing with Justin. Like, that's one thing I really don't like about his communication style. I have come down on him about his communication without saying all of this. But his tactics, like, he takes little digs. He's a little bit passive aggressive. He yells.
Sarcastic.
And he curses.
Yes.
A lot. And I think that is threatening a little bit. Like, I don't think he should take that approach to arguments with women. No. I don't care how much she frustrates you. I don't care how condescending she is, because I think that she can be.
Yes.
But it's intimidating to he's big, he's tall, to raise your voice at a woman like that and swear at her. Yeah. Like, he's got to learn a better way to communicate.
I absolutely agree with you. I have no defense on that one for Justin. You're absolutely correct. And that was definitely a point in time where he could have diffused that whole thing, but he's incapable especially when things get that heated.
He's still responding out of hurt from weeks of like trauma between them. Yeah. So I do understand his frustration. He's just got to find a better way to communicate, because that's not going to get him anywhere in any relationship. This relationship ain't going nowhere. No. But in future relationships, his inability to effectively communicate is going to hinder him.
Very true.
Period.
Very true.
So anyway, guys, we've been talking for a long time. Yes. We didn't mean for this video to go so long. Yeah. But we want to hear y'all's opinion on this episode. I thought it was not necessarily a game changer, because it was going down this route anyway, but at least it brought everything to the surface that was happening. Yeah. Side issues, we also want to hear about what you guys think about 2 hours of spending with your friends on the weekend. Yeah. Is that really a big issue? Because I don't think it should be.
It can be.
And me and my husband aren't going to agree on this, which means it's going to be a sidebar. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, hop in that comment section, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.